Hello everyone and welcome. This is Federica, I'm part of the Doc City team, and it's my pleasure to welcoming you all to this live webinar of HKBU School of Business. As you can see, we have our speakers connected, and I'd like to welcome the Professor Prendergast, is the Associate Dean at HKBU School of Business. Then we have, hello Rico, is a student from HKBU School of Business, graduated in 2021, if I'm not wrong, and decided to apply accounting and finance. And then we have Melissa. She's a current student. She's studying business and management, and they're all here to tell you more about HKBU School of Business, but mainly to tell you how is, the situation. They all went back to classes, so it's great to hear. And we're here, to tell you more about studying in Hong Kong and university, the programs, the scholarships, and there will also be a dedicated time for all of your questions. I can see that more people are joining us, so maybe just before we start with our webinar, since we are unable to see you, unfortunately, why don't you drop a message into the chat, letting us know where you are connecting from, so at least we have a feelings of the audience and the people that we have connected with us. And then, of course, we will jump into our session, and we look forward to receiving all of your questions. So just let us know where you're connecting from. Use the chat, use the Q&A, and see that more people are joining. We have Hamed. Hi, Hamed, and welcome. Hali. We have Aryuda from India. Hi and welcome. See more people join, which is great. Sierra Leone, Ethiopia, Philippines. Nice to see that we have people connecting from different countries. So I really don't want to take much of the time from this part of the presentation, and I'm just going to share with you a quick video, because we will be talking about the HKBU School of Business, but I believe it's great to hear from students what it is like. So let's have a look at this video together, and then we are back with our live webinar. Thank you.
When I thought about this university and linking the work was the hardest task ever, because HKBU is very unique,
caring,
human, dynamic,
entrepreneurial,
holistic, and versatile.
There's so many opportunities for you to work with startups, learn about them, and even start your own companies like I did. I was able to unlock my potential,
continue my professional career here in Hong Kong, one of the greatest financial centers of the world.
I got to meet amazing people who are so full of creative ideas.
I have learned to understand and appreciate the different cultures.
If you want to live that diversity, I would definitely recommend HKBU.
So nice. So as you can see, we had some testimonial for students, but now I'd like to start with our presentation. So a warm welcome to everyone. Federica, part of the Doc City team, and it's my pleasure to welcoming you all to this live webinar of HKBU School of Business. So let's have a look together at what we will be covering in today's webinar. So we have the Associate Dean connected with us, which will be talking about the COVID-19 situation in Hong Kong. We are back to face-to-face activities for students, so we will find out more about this. We will be talking about the School of Business and the master programs, and also scholarships opportunities available. We then going to have the contribute for Rico, and he's talking about HKBU School of Business graduate employability, how it is enhanced at the university, and then lifelong connection with HKBU School of Business, talking about Hong Kong. So why he chose Hong Kong, and then the perks of studying and staying and living in these amazing metropolis. And then last but not least, we have Melissa. She's a current student. She's an international student in Hong Kong, and she will tell us more about, how she chose to study HKBU and why the School of Business and how is the university live. And then, as I mentioned, there will be a dedicated time for all of your questions at the end of the presentation. So write all the questions that you might have into the Q&A section that you find in your Zoom window, and we will be able to answer at the end of the webinar. But keep writing your question while the presentation is going on, because we're very curious to hear what you want to know more about. And this is really the time to start, and I leave the floor to the Professor Prendergast, and we look forward to receiving all of your questions.
Thank you, Federica. I'll share my screen. Okay.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay. Just a minute.
And meantime, all the questions into the Q&A, we're just going to leave a message here. Look forward to receiving them.
Let me start at the beginning. It's a good place to start. Okay. So thank you, Federica. Greetings, everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Gerard Prendergast, and I'm even wearing the same clothes as I'm wearing in that photo. I guess this is my webinar suit. But I'm a New Zealander by birth, but I've been in Hong Kong for the past 25 years, believe it or not. So I know it quite well, and I'm in quite a good position to talk about life in Hong Kong and in HKBU. So I'm going to talk briefly about COVID, HKBU, and then the HKBU School of Business, and then finally talk about our programs in the School of Business and the part that I think you're probably interested in, which is the scholarships offered by the School of Business. First thing I want to say is that we are not a Christian university, okay? We are called Hong Kong Baptist University, but we are a publicly funded university in Hong Kong with a Christian heritage. So we don't have any religion. We welcome all beliefs. We welcome no beliefs. In fact, the more diverse the beliefs, the better for us. I just want to make that point clear from the beginning. So I don't want to talk too much about COVID. I think the world is moving on from COVID, and let's try and put it behind us. But very briefly, so that you know the situation in Hong Kong. Hong Kong has a population of 7.5 million. 0.2% of the population has had COVID. So we've really controlled COVID very well up until this moment. Deaths are very, very low by world standards. So in terms of world benchmarks, our number of cases and our number of deaths from COVID are very, very small. We have never had a lockdown. We've never had lockdown. We've always continued business as usual with face masks and social distancing, but we've never gone into lockdown, and we're very stable at the moment. And the government is very careful in monitoring COVID cases and contact tracing. So at this moment, you never know with COVID, of course, but at this moment, I think we are one of the safest places in the world when it comes to COVID, unless you're living alone on an island somewhere, lucky you. So Hong Kong Baptist University. Hong Kong Baptist University, we are a publicly funded university. Now, in other countries, the private universities would have a higher status than the publicly funded universities. That is not the case in Hong Kong. That is not the case in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, the government or publicly funded universities are very, very well funded by the government. We have no real shortage of resources. So in Hong Kong, the publicly funded universities have a better status than the private universities. We are research-led in the sense that our faculty use their research to inform their teaching. So it keeps the teaching at the leading edge of knowledge. And we are a liberal arts university. What does that mean? If you ask 100 people what's a liberal arts university, you'll get 100 different definitions. But basically, in our minds, a liberal arts university means we prepare students not just for a job, but for life. So we're giving them life skills, enduring life skills, not just trying to get them into the job market, although getting them into the job market, of course, is very important. I see four main dimensions to our students. They are knowledgeable, they are skillful, they are ethical, and they have a global vision. So knowledgeable, skillful, ethical, and a global vision. And I think, you know, those dimensions are exactly what employers are looking for these days. These days, employers are looking for graduates who are open-minded, creative, flexible, socially responsible. And that is what a liberal arts university, such as our university, focuses on producing. Again, just backtracking a little bit to COVID, just to assure you that on campus, we monitor the situation closely as well. So it's not just at the government level, but at the campus level. We've never been closed as a campus. We've always been open throughout COVID. The only difference was that last year we had mixed mode learning. Well, at the very beginning of the virus, we had online learning only. Then we switched to mixed mode learning, online and offline. And now, since September this year, we are face-to-face mode only. So our classes are back to normal. The difference is that we all wear a face mask. It's compulsory. We have temperature checks at the entrance as well to cover the virus situation. And we offer counselling services to our students as well, especially during these difficult times. We always offer counselling services, but especially with the stress of COVID as well. So we give counselling service for free, of course, to our students. So we are back to normal, slightly different. I don't like to use the word new normal. I think that's overused, but we are back to face-to-face classes. So as I said, we have a mask policy, we have temperature checks, compulsory vaccination. So you must present a vaccination certificate to get on campus or have regular COVID testing. And I think regular means every 2 weeks COVID testing. So we do have that restriction in entering the campus. Okay, that's enough about COVID. We're all tired of it. So this is just some photos of a face-to-face, although you can't see people's faces behind the mask, but we are back to face-to-face physical activities on campus. Now, these are some activities relating to internationalization on campus. Some more face-to-face activities, and there's a shot of our international student gathering. These are all Masters international students in the School of Business in that photo there. And there's Melissa there. She'll be talking to you later. Okay, so business as usual at Hong Kong Baptist University School of Business. Now let me talk about the School of Business itself, its philosophy. We are a leader in whole person education. Now, we are not the only university in the world focusing on whole person education, but in Hong Kong, we were the pioneer in launching whole person education. As I said, there are four main quadrants to our graduates. They are knowledgeable, skillful, socially responsible or ethical, and they have a global vision as well. In terms of our research, we are a relatively small university, so we focus our resources on selected research areas. Those areas of research are corporate sustainability, fintech, and data analytics. Corporate sustainability, fintech, and data analytics. And we have master's programs aligning with those research focused areas. Our mission. Our mission is to nurture ethical leaders with global vision. So ethical, I guess you can tie into our Christian heritage, although of course, you know, many people can be ethical, not just Christians, and many Christians can be unethical as well, but that's the history of our university. So the mission of the school is to nurture ethical leaders who have a global vision. We work very hard on internationalizing the School of Business. We internationalize our faculty, our student body, our research, and our collaborations with universities around the world. So very strong. And our curriculum, of course, is international in flavor. So we internationalize all those dimensions of the School of Business. Accreditations. You may think that accreditations are not a big deal. You are wrong. Accreditations are a very big deal. Accreditations for a business school. Now, if you are in the top 100 universities in the world, then accreditations may not be so important. But if you are not in the top 100 universities, and we are not in the top 100 universities in the world, we're probably in the top 100 business schools, but not the top 100 universities according to the rankings. For universities not in the top, say, top 100, accreditations are very important because as an international student, you don't know what you're getting. From the top 100, you know the brand, you know the reputation, but below that, you don't really know. So as an international student, you need to be looking for accreditations. Accreditations give you a quality assurance, and they demonstrate that we have hit international benchmarks. So these accreditations are from the US, UK, and Europe, these three accreditations. We are the only business school in Hong Kong, the only one to have triple accreditation. And only 1% of business schools in the world have triple accreditation. So we are in an elite group. And these accreditations are not easy. That's why we are the only triple accredited business school in Hong Kong. There's a lot of work in obtaining and maintaining these three accreditations. So this is kind of back office stuff. A lot of students don't know about this, but they do see it because the quality of these accreditations is reflected in the quality of our teaching and our faculty and our student intake and our curriculum. So accreditations is important for an international student to think about. Some other features of the School of Business. How's my timing? Okay. We are the oldest business school in Hong Kong. Is that a good thing? I'm not sure. Possibly, but it's a fact. We are the oldest business school in Hong Kong. We're ranked in the top 25 Asia Pacific business schools. We have partnerships with more than 250 universities around the world and 20,000 plus alumni. These alumni are active and they are trying to help you step into the job market. Okay, our responsibility doesn't end with graduation. We are responsible for getting you placed in the job market as well, whether that's in Hong Kong or internationally. So internationalization, we have 250 partners around the world, quality partners. In normal times, the majority of our students go on exchange, our undergraduate students. We have double degree opportunities at undergraduate level and with our master's programs. And we put a lot of money annually behind our students to get them out of Hong Kong on exchange or on summer programs. Student diversity. This to me is the most important slide. Maybe for you, scholarships is the most important slide, but actually they are related because it is our scholarships that attracts diverse students from around the world. We have currently 36 countries represented in the School of Business, 36 countries. Now, some universities will tell you that they have an international student body, but all the international students are coming from a small number of countries. We focus on diversity, 36 countries. Why is that diversity so important? For a very simple reason. You learn more from students who are different from yourself than you learn from students who are the same as yourself. You learn more from students who are different from yourself than you learn from students who are the same as yourself. Because this diversity of nationality brings diversity of opinion, And this is very important to a university, diversity of opinion and freedom of speech. We hold dearly to our hearts in the School of Business at Hong Kong Baptist University. So we hope you're sitting beside someone in the classroom who is not the same as you, who is different from you. Some facts and figures. We have 111 full-time faculty in the School of Business, 2,000 plus students in the School of Business. We also have a lot of adjunct faculty who are senior business practitioners who keep us in touch with the world outside the campus. 5 departments, nothing particularly unique there, 5 academic departments. The walls are coming down between these departments. More and more we are seeing these departments interact with each other to present a holistic business viewpoint to students. Undergraduate programs, this is our flagship program is a BBA program with all these concentrations here. Our full-time taught postgraduate programs, and I suspect that most of you in the audience are looking to study a master's program. This is our fleet of master's programs here in the School of Business. As I said, corporate governance, sustainability is reflected here, as too is big data, data analytics, and fintech and financial analytics. And this last one is a new program just launched in the forthcoming September in 2022. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 taught master's programs. These are all 1-year full-time programs, face-to-face mode. Now, this is probably what some of you have been waiting for, scholarships. And scholarships ties in with my diversity point that I made earlier. We have a range of scholarships. Our most famous scholarship is the first one, the International Postgraduate Scholarship, IPS. This scholarship is famous because it is very generous. It is very generous. It is so generous, it may not last forever, frankly, looking years into the future. So I would advise you to apply while we are still offering this scholarship. This scholarship offers full tuition fee waiver plus approximately $12,000 US. It's not per month, okay? That is for 1 year, $12,000 US. So again, we want diversity of nationality because with diversity of nationality, we get diversity of opinion. Through diversity of opinion, you learn from people who are different from yourself. That is the whole reason why we are trying to pull in people from different countries, different nationalities. For the IPS, you don't need a separate application. If you're an international student outside Hong Kong and China, when you apply for one of those previous programs, you will automatically be considered for a scholarship. Doesn't mean you will get a scholarship, but by applying for the program, you will automatically be considered for that scholarship as an international student. We have other scholarships as well, diversity scholarship, which is a half tuition fee waiver, then some other one-off fixed amount scholarships offered by some programs. But the flagship one offered by all of our programs is this first one, the International Postgraduate Scholarship. And in fact, our two speakers following on from me, Rico and Melissa, are recipients of that scholarship, okay? All right, so that's all I had to say, and I hand back to Federica, please.
Thank you so much. So thanks for the presentation and thank you all for your question. We've seen that some questions started to arrive and with a team dedicated, they already started to answer. So as anticipated, we do have Rico connected with us. Rico is a student at HKBU, graduated in 2021, if I'm not wrong, and studied applied accounting and finance. Hi Rico, and thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Perfect. So just before giving you the floor, we talked about scholarships, and as the professor said, is a hot topic. Everyone wants to know more. We do have a dedicated video. We're going to share this with you, and then I'll leave the floor to Rico.
With HKBU School of Business, your future is up to you. I chose HKBU to run headfirst into challenges, physically and mentally.
I chose HKBU to do the math and calculate my path to success.
Yes. I chose HKBU to recalibrate and immerse myself in the unknown.
With triple accreditation, I was guaranteed an education that catered to my learning needs.
That puts us among the 1% of business schools worldwide and the only business school in Hong Kong.
You'll graduate not only from an internationally recognized institution, but also an internationally diverse community that'll open your eyes to new things to love.
Or really love.
Access to an alumni network of over 20,000 and an education approach that equips you with real employable skills.
With the IPS scholarships, you can be financially free to pursue your passion.
You'll get a chance to be awarded the IPS scholarships by choosing the one-year, full-time postgraduate programs offered by the HKBU School of Business.
This means a full tuition fee waiver plus a living allowance of approximately 12,800 USD.
See if you're a candidate for the IPS scholarships like me.
And me.
And me.
And me.
It's your choice. Choose HKBU School of Business.
Great. So, floor is yours, Rico.
Thank you. I will just share my screen. Sorry, here we go. Okay, I hope that everybody can see it.
Perfect, thanks.
Great. Okay, yeah, hi everybody. Thanks to everyone who joined today and shows interest in what HKBU and its students wants to share today. I'm here to speak about my experience with HKBU and my experience in Hong Kong. I want to cover how my university helped me in the job hunting process, how I got to know friends for life and connections for life here, and why I chose, or better say, why anybody should choose to study in Hong Kong. This is probably the questions you're asking yourself too. Why Hong Kong? Just a spoiler, it's probably the most exciting city you can imagine. I really want to start with my university, specifically how they supported me and helped me with the job hunting in Hong Kong. I know many universities claim they have supporting staff and will support you with finding jobs, but mostly in the end, it's not more than asking a professor to check your CV or some events where employers present themselves. At HKBU, however, I really have to say, when they say that they are a caring university, they actually mean it. So, you know, I'm from Germany. I had no idea what's important in Hong Kong with regard to my CV, my cover letter. Is it even needed? What should I wear for the interviews? I had so many questions. And for all those questions, HKBU has 2 departments within the organization that actually help you with any questions that you have. So I went there with a job description of a bank actually and told them, hey, I want to apply here. Can you help me? And honestly, from my experience back home, I expected that they will say, yeah, just send me over your CV, you know, and I'll take a look. But no, they actually sat down with me. They explained me what are the important details in Hong Kong. Where can I find more information? They gave me actually a task to write up my CV and I sent it to them. And literally 2 days later, I got an email with a 3-page PDF that included improvements, comments on what to do better. I was just really amazed by the effort they put into it. And all the same effort was also done for the cover letter as well. It was really a great experience knowing that you can rely on the staff at BU so well. On top of that, they also offered a great guest lectures. I really want to point that out because these lectures were really targeted to change your mindset. You really need to understand that the students who come all the way to Hong Kong are most likely the ones who are, you know, very open, very adventurous, the ones who are seeking challenges. And that's why it's also such a great place to find good friends. But the lectures they offered really just make you aware of what's important in life, what's important in your career, and what's important regarding your mindset and how you approach life and challenges. And this just really also changed my perspective and just showed me again how, you know, studying at HKBU was the best decision that I've made. That being said, thanks to this decision, I really met the greatest people here in Hong Kong at BU. Most of the people I met, were basically in the same situation as myself, right? They came here on their own, far away from home, didn't know anybody. And this just made the international students such a close community. We went out every weekend together. We went hiking, we went partying together. It's just really great to see how my network, and to be honest, I don't really like calling it network because it sounds too professional, but I will use the term anyway. My network has become so international. Professor Prendergast mentioned it. We have people from all over the world: Nigeria, Romania, the UK, the US, Thailand, Morocco. I really could keep going. And this internationality and these cultural experiences are just so valuable for your life. And I just wouldn't have had this exposure if I didn't come to Hong Kong Baptist University. On top of that, something that is not the norm in Germany, I also have such great contact with the staff and the professors at my university here. As you know, or as mentioned, I graduated actually 3 months ago, so it's already quite a while that I had my last lecture at BU. But even though I'm not a student anymore, I still feel that I'm so involved with the university and what's going on. The staff actually reaches out to me. A friend of mine who just graduated with me 3 months ago will meet one of the professors of us next week to catch up, to talk about how it goes in the job and life. So that's just something that's really unique to me. And, people from BU just really identify themselves with the university and are proud to be part of this network. Now, in the next slide, I just want to tell you a bit more about Hong Kong. You see, I put a lot of photos also of myself on the slides, just to give you an understanding of how great this city looks like. So I want to quickly touch on COVID as well. Hong Kong has one of the strictest rules with regard to inbound traveling in the world. Gotta be honest, it's not the most pleasant experience to fly here because you need to do a lot of tests and go through quarantine. It's all quite annoying. But, and there's a really big but, after you are out of quarantine, you will realize that it will be totally worth it. Actually, apart from wearing a mask, you won't even realize that COVID is a thing in Hong Kong or in the world. The restaurants are open, the bars are open, the clubs are open all night. The university actually conducts face-to-face classes again, and they plan social events. So you've seen some in the beginning. And I think in the last 7 months, if I recall correctly, there were like 10 COVID cases. So that's really, really great. It's really gotta say it's super fun and great for me to be here because I don't have to deal with lockdowns or closed restaurants as it's the case in Europe, for example, right now again. So I just really want you to keep that in mind. And I also want to touch on why should you actually go through quarantine and come here? I just touched on it a little bit, but I really want to elaborate on it. My friends, my family, they asked me, Rico, why do you want to go to Hong Kong? Maybe they would understand it if I said New York or London, like very famous places. Also for me, as I'm from Germany, these are just more popular places. But Hong Kong just seemed a bit, far away, a little bit strange probably. But I really want to answer that question from my experience, which I gained over the last year. So let me start with the career opportunities, probably a very interesting topic. I mentioned before how HKBU offers a huge support in the job hunting process, right? It's really great. But I want to tell you that Hong Kong really offers such a variety of different options. It's actually incredible. So many of my friends actually started working in startups of all kind, including fintech or also crypto company, which is a very big thing in Hong Kong as well. Some others started at Fortune 500 corporations, or obviously in the banking industry. Hong Kong is a big financial hub in the world. And some even founded their own business. So you just see there are really tons of opportunities basically squeezed into such a small place as Hong Kong. And I can only say I was really amazed by how diverse the paths that my friends chose after graduations were. I don't want to pretend that it's super easy to find a job here. Actually, it's very competitive landscape here. But of course, if you take the step out of your comfort zone and you come all the way to Hong Kong, you will also not have a problem finding a job or creating your own business here, specifically given the help that BU offers. Now, I also understand that many of you are still studying yourself or will soon start studying. So the student life is probably a very important point to talk about. I want to touch on that as well. Let me tell you, the student life here is absolutely amazing. I talked before about how, despite COVID, face-to-face classes are adopted again here in Hong Kong because there are literally no cases, and how social events at university take place normally again. But apart from all of that, Hong Kong offers so much more. So I myself haven't even seen and explored everything yet, and I'm here since more than a year already. The nightlife here is probably one of the most exciting ones I've ever experienced. You know, the countless bars and clubs you can go to are just really great. And apart from that, Hong Kong is really a great place to go hiking as well. So you see some photos here on this slide. It's just, you know, it really became a hobby for me to go hiking here. And, you know, when you Google Hong Kong, all you see is skyscrapers, buildings, cars, that kind of stuff. But actually, you can do the most exciting and breathtaking hikes here as well. And this is really one of the reasons why I love Hong Kong myself so much, because it just offers both as well. It offers the big city life, but it also has this breathtaking nature landscapes, as you can see in the photos that I have here on the slides as well. So really want to emphasize again, Hong Kong is an amazing city that really offers a diverse culture. You have the Chinese influences, you have the Western influences, you have a vibrant nightlife, you have the amazing nature, and COVID is basically non-existent, which is why you can actually really do all the things that you would normally do as a student as well. And lastly, Hong Kong Baptist University really means it when they say they are an international and caring university. The atmosphere you will find here is just really unique. The network and connection with friends, professors, the staff really creates a strong community. So I can only highly recommend every one of you really to take the step, get out of your comfort zone, be open about it, and pursue your master here and, you know, apply it to HKBU. Thank you.
Thank you, Rico. Thanks for being here and for sharing your experience with us. So as anticipated, now it's Melissa's turn. So we have actually the pleasure to have with us Rico, but also Melissa. She's a current student, so she's studying at HKBU School of Business. And I'll leave you the floor, Melissa. So tell us everything about your experience, and we look forward to receiving all of your questions. Keep writing them into the Q&A box. As I can see, the team is already answering to some of them, but we're also going to answer to others together later. Melissa, I leave you the floor. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. Let's see. All right. Hi, I am Melissa. I'm from the US and I am here studying business management master's program. I came to Hong Kong just about 3 months ago and have loved every minute of it this far. But I just want to share with you guys today a little bit about being an international student here in Hong Kong, touching just a little bit more on the COVID-19 situation here and what that was like coming in with quarantine most recently. Why I chose HKBU and specifically the School of Business, and then just a little bit about like the student life here thus far and all of the different ways you're able to get involved on campus and with the other international students and things like that. So why Hong Kong? Here's just some photos. I went to school in North Carolina, Appalachian State University, and I actually learned about the school and the programs here from a professor who used to be a teacher here, came back and was teaching at my undergrad university, and he recommended it just as like a fantastic opportunity. At that point, I was super interested in going to graduate school, but hadn't really quite figured out where I was looking to go yet. So when he kind of brought it up, I was like, well, why not Hong Kong? I didn't really know too much about it, but I quickly started looking it up, and I had spoken with a few students who had attended the school before, and it really just seemed like an amazing experience to be in this booming city, like Rico said, like probably the most exciting city in the world. And you're just living and learning here in this new environment, and you have such a diverse community and educational experience happening all around you. And I had studied abroad again before in undergrad, and it was super important to me to be able to connect and interact with students from all over. So I think Professor Prendergast showed us the list of 36 countries, and it seems like just so many. So it's amazing just to have students from all over here joining us and being able to have those connections in our classrooms. So here's a photo from Victoria Harbour. There's so much to do and see. Me and my classmates and friends are always running around every weekend. There's something to do and someone to do it with, which is super exciting. And like I said, I had heard some nice things about Hong Kong, and I think I was just expecting it to be all city and all buildings like you see here. But as you can see from some of the last pictures in the presentation, there's so much nature and like greenery around, which is really refreshing to be able to go just, you know, maybe 15 or 30 minutes out of the city and be in like the most beautiful, lush mountains and beaches that you've ever seen. But the interactions with the students and then the amazing scholarship opportunities really just made Hong Kong seem like the best place for me to go and pursue my degree, and just the connections that you can make here with the people from all over, the professors that are all super knowledgeable, and all my professors have also studied so many other places. So just really bringing all of the internationalization into the classroom and hearing people's point of views from all over, it was what really, I think, attracted me to here. So living in Hong Kong, like I said, I've been here for about 3 months now. And in some ways it feels like I got here yesterday, and in some ways it feels like I've been here forever, because there's just so much happening around, and it really has started to feel like a very homey place and a very safe place, I would say too. That was definitely a big concern of my parents when I came, was like, is it safe, you know, like from the US, like New York City, maybe not as safe for someone who has no idea what they're doing to just up and move to. But here in Hong Kong, I think that everywhere I go and everyone that I've interacted with like has felt the same. With it's just a very comfortable city, and everybody here is so helpful and friendly. But these are just some photos here with some friends. On the left here, you see from one of the many festivals we've had the past few months, the Mid-Autumn Festival. In the middle, we've got just a nunnery that we went to visit with some beautiful gardens. And then over on the right is some international students, and I decided to go to the horse track and watch a horse race in Happy Valley, which is super fun. Again, endless things to do. But just having all of these like experiences outside the classroom, I think really is what makes the whole experience what it is. Of course, like in the classroom and learning and pursuing the degree is important, but I think you can learn just as much outside and then bring those experiences into the classroom as well. Living in Hong Kong, I come from, I mean, like a decent sized city, but not nearly as big as Hong Kong, obviously. And my biggest shock, but also my favorite thing, I think, so far is just the ease of transportation here. You can hop on the MTR, which is like our subway, or buses, or even a ding ding, like a tram that goes along Hong Hai Island, which is so much fun. And I mean, it just makes getting around the city so convenient and easy. And it's crazy. You'll go in the MTR just here or at school, and then 20 minutes later, you can pop up just like in the middle of the city, which is one of my favorite things, I think, is just being able to so easily move around. And again, just a little bit more on COVID, and then I promise we're all through. But the current COVID situation over on the left, that's what it'll look like when you come, if we're still having some quarantine. So I did 14 days quarantine I think someone said it earlier, but it's definitely worth it. And honestly, not as bad as it may seem. It was definitely nice to be able to just kind of relax and get adjusted to the time change after traveling for so long to make it here. Through Hong Kong, we don't really have many COVID cases or anything, but when you do enter a restaurant or a movie theater or something like that, we will have this app called Leave Home Safe where you'll just have to pull out your phone, scan a QR code, and then you're all good to go and enter. But things like movie theaters, which is the picture in the top corner there with some of my classmates, movie theaters are all open, which is super nice because at home they weren't quite open when I was leaving. And then down at the bottom, you can see one of my favorite things and one of the main reasons I did decide to come to Hong Kong over some of the other places I was looking at graduate school is the in-person classes. And I think that having those in-person lectures and being able to interact with your classmates in person was something that was so important to me because I think just on Zoom it's hard to kind of make those connections and really get the full experience. So I was so thankful that HKBU was doing all of the necessary precautions to get us all back on campus and have that face-to-face learning because I think it really just makes the whole experience more personal. And definitely it has helped me through my classes. So why HKBU and the School of Business? The accreditations, like Professor Prendergast said, are really nice because whether you're trying to work here in Hong Kong or US, Europe, UK, all over, the School of Business will be known and people can kind of see the level of learning that we went through and the level of education that we have here on campus. But aside from just that with the programs, there's a lot to do in and around campus. So campus is pretty centrally located, not too far from like the MTR and right beside a lot of those bus stops. There's some restaurants and coffee shops on campus, which make it super convenient. Like today I had 2 classes. I went with some friends to grab lunch just in one of the canteens and also just the coffee shops in between. So they make it really convenient for students to live and just be around the campus. Then again, everybody is so friendly. All of the professors, definitely my first day, I had no idea where I was going. I stopped, asked some random lady. They were so helpful. She walked me over to my classroom for orientation where it was happening. So I think just the school environment, it seems very homey and very family-like where everybody seems to really take care of each other and they really do care and have been more than helpful, more than I could have asked for. The school itself, you can see Shaw Campus Tower, which is just there on that left picture. That's kind of the main entrance point. I come in every single day, get my COVID scan with my temperature and everything, which is super efficient and nice that it allows us to go back on campus. But also the school is doing a bunch of new updates right now. We have our new Lee Promenade. So the school is really kind of making everything look super nice and new. It's really nice. And then over on the right is just one of the ladies from my program office. On the first day of class, I was trying to ask her to take a photo with me and she's like, no, we have to take a selfie. So it's just fun. Everybody is just so welcoming and I really love the environment. They really do make you feel like you're at your home away from home. And then this is just some of the classmates from my program, business management. We had an in-person orientation. So this was kind of the first time we all got to meet. And again, one of the reasons that I really did want to come somewhere here in person was to have these in-person relationships and being able to interact with my classmates and professors. So I just thought I would throw a photo of that in here. And then I promise I'm almost done, but these are just some of the fun things that I do. So there's a lot of activities and events planned by the school and a lot by the international office, especially. So going through some of them over on the left was actually an event put on by my program. It was called Discover Hong Kong, and it was just an opportunity for our classmates to travel around the city, ultimately on just a large scavenger hunt. So this is us at one of the stops eating some egg tarts, which are pretty popular here in Hong Kong. But it was just great to interact with the students and get to know each other a bit more, as well as traveling around the city, learning how to better use all of those modes of transportation that are super easy and convenient here. In the middle, we've got one of the photos from an event recently put on by the Internationalization office. And we had international carnival. So there were tables set up. We had these little photo areas. There were games, darts. Darts is down there on the right-hand side. I think you can see Allison a bit in the photo too. But just super fun, kind of getting to learn about some of the students' home countries and facts like that, and a way for all the students just to kind of come together. I will say also the international office is incredibly helpful, and I'm so thankful for them. I think a few of them are here on the call with us today helping answer some questions, but they put on events for us as international students, and we also have a club. So if you guys are interested, we have an Instagram that I help run, and you can kind of keep up with us, see what we're doing, see some nice photos, maybe get a little bit more information from there. But they put on these events for us. They had little goodie bags for us when we arrived and got out of quarantine. And then even during quarantine, Allison especially was who I was chatting with, but she would send me WhatsApp messages, just kind of like check on me, see how I was doing, because quarantine is, I mean, difficult. You're just there in the room, but she was so helpful. My flight plans got changed at the last minute. Literally, I think like 36 hours before I was supposed to arrive. I was like, oh no, I'm coming in like 14 hours. Can you help me? So she was so helpful. Helped me change my quarantine hotel, and really just like the most help that I could have ever asked for, and definitely has made this whole experience and the whole transition to Hong Kong a lot easier. But really just the support from everybody, the professors and the staff, incredible. And I am so excited that I'm just here and having the rest of the semesters finishing up now. We'll have a little bit of a break and then finishing up the program. It seems kind of crazy that it's nearly half over now, but I've loved every minute of it. And I think I just have this one more. This is how I feel about Hong Kong. I love it. It's amazing. And if you have the opportunity, I would say definitely to take it, that you won't regret a second of it. But I am going to stop my sharing now.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you so much for, we kind of felt part of it. Like, thank you so much for also sharing lots of pictures. It looked very nice. And glad to hear that you're enjoying your experience. So now, as promised, we're back to answer some of the questions that we received. So thank you so much for using the Q&A. And I'd like to thank the HKBU team that's been behind the scene answering to lots of your questions. Professor, some of the questions were regarding the scholarships, as we kind of anticipated. So talking about the scholarship, what is the qualification, or is there any test that students need to register to get scholarship in the university? Or is it possible, if the bachelor it is major in business, it is possible to take a master's degree within the business school? So maybe first we can talk about the scholarship part, and then we can jump into the right background needed for a master in business.
Okay, firstly, thanks to Melissa and Rico. You guys are very interesting, much more interesting than me. And I forgot what it was like to be a student. And I was really enjoyed listening to what life is like being a student in Hong Kong rather than being a professor in Hong Kong. I think you have a very different lifestyle to me in some ways. So back to your question, Federica. So the admission requirements for the scholarship, correct? Okay. Well, firstly, if I talk about the IPS, the International Postgraduate Scholarship, this is a merit-based scholarship. There's a merit-based scholarship. So just having an international passport is not enough. You've got to hit other measures as well. That's just to start the discussion. You need to have an international passport, okay? But beyond that, you need to hit a lot more things as well. So it's merit-based, it's competitive. You need to apply for one of those programs, one of those master's programs that I listed there. That's the first thing you need to do. You need to meet the admission requirements of the program. So all the programs have admission requirements. They are similar, but some slight differences. The MSc in Business Management, to answer your question, Federica, the MSc in Business Management requires a business undergraduate degree, whereas the other master's programs, they're open to any undergraduate discipline as admission. So you need to have a undergraduate degree, you need to have a passport outside of Hong Kong and China. You need to have outstanding academic performance, okay, your undergraduate degree. Professional experience is not required, but it does add some value. If you can bring, if you have that on your CV, don't hide it. And you need to have a good interview performance as well. So we interview every candidate who applies for the scholarship. And by applying to the master's programs, you're automatically considered for the scholarship, for the IPS scholarship, as I said. All the scholarships are very competitive, and not everyone can get an IPS. So we do have other scholarships as well. They're not as appealing as the IPS, but we do have tuition fee waivers, half scholarships, diversity scholarships, etc. But the IPS is the most attractive scholarship financially. If your undergraduate degree is not in English, then you need to present the result of an English test, either TOEFL or IELTS. But if your undergraduate degree was taught in English, you don't need to do that test. That's basically it. So there are some hard things you've got to hit: the passport, the undergraduate degree, the English test if necessary, and then beyond that, the interview performance is very important. We have a lot of local students, and they're not on scholarship. So what we don't want is to have poor international students coming in, and then the local students say, well, why are those guys getting a scholarship? Just because of their passport? That's not fair. So you've really got to bring something else to the table apart from just being international. We would rather have, no international students than poor international students. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Another question is actually for Rico and Melissa. So they're asking us if the master degree program requires also project work in order to be able to complete your program. So maybe if Rico would like to start, and then I'm going to ask Melissa about her experience on this.
Sure. So for my program, which is the Master of Science in Applied Accounting and Finance, we do not have a project work in the program. However, my program is structured a little differently than most of you might know it. So actually, my program is in trimesters rather than semesters. That means you might have a little less, long holidays. I was sometimes a bit jealous on my friends from the business management program who have a longer break than me. So I'd say it can be a bit more stressful, but we do not have a project work or something like a master thesis, which I know is sometimes the case in European schools or in US schools as well. In my program, that was not the case. Maybe Melissa can share how it was or is in her program.
Sure. So within my individual classes, we have a decent amount of group work. Pretty much for each class, I'd say we have like a group presentation that's kind of wrapping up here at the end of the semester. But then overall, throughout the whole program, again, I'm in the Master's in Business Management. We do have our capstone class, which is one of the required courses. And it's a year-long project. So it started here right after the semester started. It probably was beginning of September. And we won't present that project until I believe it's in June that we're doing the presentation. So it's a very long project. It's just a group of 4 students. And I know from some of my friends in the other programs, they also have some decently large projects kind of similar, but like Rico said, no thesis or anything for us, just this capstone project. But it seems to be like a nice addition to the program.
Perfect, thank you. I just wanted to share with you an email address that you can, of course, get in contact in case you have any further questions, because I believe that, each of you listening to the presentation might have a different background, different history, and might be interesting also in different aspects. So I'm just going to share with you an email address that you can reach out. As you can see, the team is very much available to answer any sort of question that you might have. So coming towards, let's say, the end of our webinar for today is we're, of course, going to schedule some more in the near future. I just wanted to ask our speakers if there was anything else that you wanted to add or to share, any encouragement to whoever is listening to us just before closing our event. So if you want to start with the professor, and then I'm going to ask Melissa and Rico, so if there is anything they wanted to add.
I would just like to reinforce something that that Melissa touched on. Well, firstly, both Melissa and Rico talked about what an amazing city Hong Kong is, and that I've been here for 25 years. Say something to that. And you know, frankly, every morning when I wake up, it's like it's my first day in Hong Kong all over again, because it's always changing. There is always something happening unusual or unexpected in Hong Kong. That's what makes it so exciting. But the point Melissa touched on about safety, I think that's a good point, because a lot of people, you know, probably can't find Hong Kong on a map, yet alone what's happening inside Hong Kong. But Melissa is exactly right. And I have a teenage daughter, and you know, as a father, you think a lot about safety. I've never had any concerns for my daughter in Hong Kong. Totally safe. Maybe it's because there's so many people, so there's no real quiet places to be attacked or anything. And also, Hong Kong never sleeps. The lights are always on. There are no dangerous dark places in Hong Kong. So that's it. It really is a very, very safe place. Yeah, that's it. That's it, Federica. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Students that probably be, you know, you a few years ago deciding what to do next. What can you share with them?
Yeah, I would say definitely with COVID and the uncertainty. I just graduated last December from undergrad, so just about a year ago. I was just starting to work, and I just wanted to do something else. I always thought about going to grad school, and I was, with the uncertainty of COVID, I was like, I might as well just go. Like, there's really no reason not to. So I think I would just urge you to apply, even if you're not certain that you want to commit to going to grad school now, or whatever the case may be, or if you don't know if Hong Kong is exactly the right fit for you, I would just apply, reach out to the email. Everybody in the office is super helpful, but I would just do it. Don't think about it, just apply and go for it.
Thank you, Rico, your turn.
Yeah, thank you. What I really want to emphasize again, and I would tell myself that if I could go back in time, just really, if you have the chance and the option to come here, do it. I know it might seem, you know, for many of you probably like a crazy idea to come to Hong Kong, you know, far away from home. You don't know anybody, but you really have to get out of your comfort zone, because only when we do that, we can grow. You will meet new people. You will have a great network, and I promise you, you will definitely not regret it, because you will meet a lot of people who are in the same place as you are, who have the same fears, who faces the same challenges. So really, you will first realize what you're actually capable of if you take the step out of your comfort zone, and going to Hong Kong will definitely help you achieve that. So I really strongly encourage all of you to make this experience, because it's definitely an experience for life and will create lifelong memories as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, Rico is exactly right. That if I hear international students, whether they're exchange students or degree students, if they say they are homesick, frankly, I'm pretty happy to hear that, because that means they've stepped outside their comfort zone. And it's through stepping outside the comfort zone that you grow and develop as a person. Thanks, Rico. That's a good point.
Thank you. You actually were made very good points. And I'd like really to thank you for being with us today and telling us more about the HKBU School of Business, all of you for staying connected. But just before saying goodbye to you all, we just wanted to share one extra video. So just for you to get a little bit more of a glimpse about this amazing university. So let me just share these before saying bye to all of you. Thanks. So thank you so much. Thanks to Professor, thanks to Rico and Melissa. It's been a pleasure to have you here with us. Thank you all for being connected. I'm just going to share with you a link in case you like to receive a certificate of attendance. The team, Alison, has shared with you an email address that you can contact. We will be sending you an email over the next few days, so check your inbox because you'll receive some interesting information and you can directly get in contact with the university. So really, thank you so much. And have a great rest of your day. We look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.